Welcome. I'm Tim Fortescue, an IFS trained practitioner, and glad to be with you again this week. You can find out more about me on my website if you're new at faithfullygrowing.com. And while you're there, you may want to check out my donation-based products, as well as sign up for a list of 25 IFS meditations that I do and that I've got good feedback on. And finally, if you have the capacity while you're on the website to click the donate button, one of my primary visions is to keep IFS accessible to all. And so I have a nonprofit aspect of my practice that helps me provide more sliding scale slots, more donation-based content on a sliding scale. And so if you have the capacity and if you find this useful and helpful, always grateful for any support that you can give. And if you're not able to donate, I'm grateful for your courage in showing up, and I hope that this is helpful for you. Today, I'm going to do some frequently asked questions about IFS. I have 10 here that I'm going to talk about. And so a little more content today than normal, but then at the end, I'm going to lead us in a brief meditation to check in with our parts. And if you have questions, if you're joining live, drop them in the chat and I'll engage with them here. If you're watching a recording, go ahead and put your questions in the chat and I'll address those questions next time. But as I bring up these 10 frequently asked questions, it may stimulate some more questions that you have, and I'm glad to address them. And as always, if it's helpful, you can send me an email to tim@faithfullygrowing.com, and I'd be glad to correspond via email. But let's look at these 10 frequently asked questions, or FAQs, about IFS. And the first one is, what is IFS? And so IFS, or internal family systems, is a type of therapy, and it was created and discovered by Dick Schwartz in the 1980s. And it suggests that our minds are made up of different parts, each with its own viewpoint, feelings, and memories. And at the center is the self, that core, which is who we were at the beginning, unburdened and healed. And IFS aims to heal those wounded parts that may be stuck in the past and bring balance inside of this internal family, or this internal system. And the second question that I often hear are, what are the main components of IFS? And IFS has three key parts. First and foremost, and at the core of us and at the core of the model, is the self. And this is the heart of a person, the heart of the system. And it's who we truly are, our true self, filled with qualities like calmness, curiosity, compassion, confidence, and so on. And so you have the self, and then second, they're parts. And these are like subpersonalities within us. And they come in three types or categories. The first is managers. And these are parts that, in their extreme roles, try to keep control and protect us from hurt. And then on the other side, so you have those managers that are more proactive. You have those firefighters that are more reactive. And those are the parts that, just like firefighters, they react quickly to soothe the pain when those exiles that are even younger parts underneath tend to get threatened, or they think they may become upset. And so you have the self, the parts, and in the parts in that protective realm, you have managers and firefighters. And then underneath, what those protectors are protecting are exiles. And these are parts that carry pain, and are often younger. And as their label suggests, they've been exiled or pushed down. And when these protectors can see that they don't have to protect these little ones, that they've got us, they've got an inner team, we can go to them, they can be unburdened on the exile level and healed and brought into the present. And then those protectors also are able to be brought into the present and healed. Third question, how does IFS work? And the model and the process includes steps like, first, identifying the parts. A therapist or a practitioner helps you find and describe and connect and build trust with your parts. And getting to know those parts. It enables us to get to understand the roles and goals of the parts. And then number 3, healing of the exiles. But as I said, that also comes out to those protectors where there's healing within them as they see us model and begin to trust us, ourself, more in driving the bus or leading in life. But healing exiles, with the self's help, we work to heal those exiled parts, and then those protectors are able to find healing too. And then the fourth way that IFS works is restoring balance. The aim is to get the internal system working more balanced and in tandem and as a team with all the gifts that these parts have. They make up ourself and who we are at our core. And so when we can alleviate and help these parts unburden and get out of these extreme roles, we become more balanced and whole and more self-led. And the parts are in healthier roles. And then the fourth of the 10 questions that I'm going to do here today, who can benefit from IFS? And I have found that it helps people with many issues, and some of those would be anxiety. I know it's helped me personally with that, and to be more, less anxious, and more self-led and balanced. Depression, and again, for me, my anxiety leads to depression whenever I'm just so anxious, and it helps with that. Trauma and PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder. Relationship problems. It's helped me personally in my own relationship with my wife, of speaking for my parts instead of as if I am just overtaken by this angry part. Now, there's a part of me that's upset and angry. And when we can turn that inward and realize that we have parts speaking, it helps relationships and it helps communication. And as we become more self-led in the world and our relationships begin to heal. Low self-esteem, just more confidence. Eating disorders, addiction, and many other things. But this model is good for anyone looking to grow personally and to have more self-understanding. And then the fifth question that I often encounter about IFS is IFS therapy evidence-based? And it is. It's backed by evidence. Studies have shown that it works well for various conditions, especially complex trauma, PTSD. People who've had IFS therapy often see big improvements in their symptoms and overall happiness. And I've seen that with my own clients. I've seen that in my own family, externally, and I've seen it in my own self and my internal system personally. And then number 6 of these frequently asked questions of IFS, What's the role of the practitioner or therapist in IFS? And in this model, the practitioner or the therapist guides and supports, and they can help you connect with yourself and deal and get to know your parts better. And the practitioner makes sure that you feel safe and encourages you to lead your inner healing. And when you're not capable to do that, the practitioner can hold that self energy until you're able to get a critical mass of self to connect with your parts better. And that practitioner, I know me personally, wants you to be able to keep healing even after the process of working with me or a therapist ends, because your system, the client system, is capable of healing if we can get to know our parts and trust ourselves and something bigger than ourselves at work. Number 7, how long does IFS and the process typically take? And the process, it doesn't have a set time. Some might see changes quickly, while others need more time for deeper issues. And it's tailored to you. I usually ask folks that are working with me initially for the first 3 months to work weekly if they can, and if not, at least bi-weekly, because I found just early on that consistency in the relationship with me working with clients is key. But it's tailored to you. So how fast you progress depends on your situation and readiness and your system. And there's no right or wrong. We can't rush the process, though, but we can trust and just go with that process. And then number 8 of the 10 here, can I practice IFS on my own? And the answer that I give to that is, while you can go deeper in your work with a trained practitioner who practices IFS on a regular basis, and I'd say at least initially, that'd be the best thing, is to work with someone trained or experienced in the model specifically for tough issues. And you can try techniques by yourself also. And it is possible. As your system trusts you, you can do this work on your own. There are many books, workshops, online tools that can guide you. But at least initially, if you're new to the model or if there's some deeper issues, and I see my own practitioner on a regular basis, because even though I am trained, I can go deeper when I have someone else guiding me in that process. Then number 9, what should I look for in an IFS practitioner or a therapist? And I would suggest that when looking for someone, think about these 4 things. First of all, the training. Find someone who is trained in the model. And there are multiple different ways to get trained. There's the IFS Institute, but there's some other folks that are doing some training that I've benefited from, like the Stepping Stone program up with IFS CA or Canada. But look at someone who knows the model and has practiced it when you're looking for a practitioner. And that leads me into the second one, the experience. Choose someone who knows how to handle your specific problems and that you relate with. What is their specialty and experience? Number 3, compatibility. You should feel comfortable and safe with whoever that you work with. And then the approach. Make sure that, again, that you relate to the person and that they don't seek to label you. IFS teaches that we're all doing the best that we can. There are no bad parts, but we just need to stay to stay curious. And so look for someone who is in your corner, who can support you, maybe challenge with some questions when needed, but ultimately let your system self-direct, and that their approach is to, trusting you on your journey. And then finally, and then I'll lead us just in a brief meditation to check in with our parts. How can I learn more about IFS? And I would encourage you to check out many books on IFS, such as No Bad Parts by Dick Schwartz. Many websites. You can visit the IFS Institute website for info and resources, and to find a practitioner if you want something in person, or if they're a therapist that needs to be certified in and licensed in your state. You can find a list there. Workshops and trainings, many programs out there. And then you can talk with practitioners or therapists about what you want to know too. And you can always reach out to me if you have questions. Send me an email to tim@faithfullygrowing.com. But I hope that this was helpful for you. And again, if you have questions, if you're joining live, you can throw them in the chat and I'll take a glance at the end of the meditation. Or if you're watching a recording, continue. Put your questions in and I'll address them next week. I try to do this each week at the same time. But let's just take a minute for just a brief parts to check in. And let's just pause and settle in and ground yourself and your system. Just begin to notice thoughts, feelings, actions, impulses, beliefs, those parts. Check in and see where you're sensing those parts in or around your body. Maybe they're a group or a part that you're kind of feeling in your head or in your chest, your abdomen. Just notice where you're sensing parts the most. And that'd be an indicator too of the parts. Maybe there's some in your head that you're noticing, but you're sensing it more in your chest. Those may be the ones that need more attention right now. We're just kind of getting a sense of where the parts are, though. I'm not going to go deep here, but just to acknowledge them. And so get a sense of your parts and check in and see how you're feeling toward them. And just see if you can extend them just a bit of compassion. And if there's some resistance coming up, that's likely another part. See if it could soften back and give you some space. And send that part some compassion. Thank it for its courage and softening back. And just from that space, just see how it is for your parts to see you, for you to see your parts. And just simply say one thing, and then I'm going to leave you with that for just 30 seconds or so. But just say, I'm here. See what you notice. Just see before we wrap up, is there more that your parts may need to say or that you want to say to your parts? Then, when it feels right for now, you can begin to bring your attention back to the present moment. But before you do that, just thank your system for its courage, for as much or as little as it's shared. Then you can open your eyes if they were closed and continue about life. But thanks so much. I hope that these FAQs about IFS were helpful and this meditation was helpful. If you have questions, go ahead and type them in the chat, whether live or the recording, and I'll engage with them next week when I join. Try to do this each week, same time, 10 a.m. Central here in the US. And so grateful for this community. Try to be gentle with yourself, and I will too. And just remember, we're all doing the best we can. There are no bad parts, but there's some that are burdened and stuck in the past. And just remind them that they've got you, they've got your belovedness, and they've got a team. Thanks so much, and take care. Have a great week, and look forward to connecting again soon.